What's replacing mean?
It says clean or replace, which means you change it or you clean it, one or the other. That's what it says.
And if it needs to be replaced, they shouldn't replace it?
If it needs to be replaced.
But it did need replacing.
Well, that's what the dispute is all about.
Well, that's why I had him changed, and I have the witness.
Well, who's your witness?
This is the representative from the company in that letter.
But is that, where, this letter here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's take a look at this. This is a letter dated December 12, 2008 by Anthony Contrero. That's your witness, right?
That's the company. That's the owner of the company.
Well, the owner of the company, A.S. Contrero. And the letter states, Dear Father Chablis, close, please find a copy of the maintenance agreement for the church and fellowship hall per terms and inspections filled out in the agreement. Please be advised that the present condition of equipment is in need of urgent maintenance. Filters must be changed, sensors and adjustments need to be made to extend the life of equipment and maximize the efficiency of energy savings on utility bills. Present conditions of filters are dirty, and a previous lack of thorough maintenance and quality of service done in this equipment does not meet the high-quality industry standards or workmanship that we instill in our service technician and our company. But he's not here.
Correct. He's here.
Oh, that's him?
No.
He changed the filters, Your Honor.
Okay, so he is
The
here.
gentleman that changed the filters.
What is your name?
Larry
Larry who?
Ratliff, Ratliff.
And you work for A.S. Contrera.
Yes, sir, I
Now,
do.
when did you look at these filters?
That was on January 5th. We went down there.
January 5th, all right. And what is your opinion of the filters?
Oh, we had to change them. I looked on, there's 3 filters on the bottom, 3 small ones. They were packed with leaves and all kind of debris. And if you go do a quarterly change, especially in a church, and especially in November, where you got flu season and cold season going on, the intake of the furnace will put particulates of people having colds and everything inside the filters, and then it goes right back through the furnace and blows all the bad particulates back through.
Right.
Even if it looks clean, it needs to be changed to protect people inside so they don't get sick from airborne particulates.
All right.
Your Honor,
response?
I beg to differ with this gentleman here, okay? I've been a licensed contractor for 40 years. If there's any debris of leaves that go inside the filter, I'll say this in front of you, Your Honor, I'll give that order, they're free. These leaves do not come from outside, they come from internal. It's like internal in something like this. The leaves blow outside. The dust particles are interior. My men would not leave those filters alone. Furthermore, when you change them repetitiously every 4 months, they don't have a chance in the world to build up 1 inch, as he calls it. And I'll stake my reputation against this gentleman any day.
I take it this contract was not renewed with your
No,
company.
because, Your Honor, when I was given the opportunity to quote this job, it was this company that I waltzed out the door because of the improper work that they did. I went through every one of their units and showed them how much work was really needed in detail. This is a 9-page information sheet, by the way, which we didn't even charge the church. This was a 3-day that I did with a technician. We never charged them. 3 days to do this inspection. Walked the actual priest in front of them to show them the work that had to be done. When they seen that it was not done, they elected to give me the contract. I did not go in there and,
That's not true, Your
Well, it
Honor.
doesn't matter. Mr. Aubrey, why don't you think the church should honor the
don't
contract?
Your Honor, it's very simple. I had to have the filters changed by another company. All I wanted, that's why I made the offer, all I wanted was the cost to reimburse the church for the additional cost that it cost us, that's all.
We gave him the $185 credit
Your
for the
Honor, it
filters.
says right here, $531 on his contract.
For
I
what?
don't know where you got the $185 from.
No. It's not $531. That's for a different trip. This is number
Right.
1 that we're talking about, the trip that occurs in fall. It says number 1, heating seasonal start on 7
That's the
furnaces,
major.
or however many furnaces it is. That's where you fire up the
Your Honor,
furnaces.
the filters were needed to be replaced. He has to replace them. I don't care what part of the year he goes.
Well, I guess that's a question of dispute here, but from a legal standpoint, Mr. Aubrey, you're justified in not paying Mr. Ciamello or his company if there's a breach of contract. There's an agreement here, okay? This contract that was signed by the church, not by you personally, but by the church, by the acting pastor of the church, stated that certain things were going to be done at certain times. That was the agreement. And what it said is that sometime in November, when the heating season starts, somebody from Ciamello was going to look and see whether or not the filters needed to be changed. Not necessarily that they would be changed.
They don't have to be right, though?
That was what the contract was.
The intent of the contract is not to be fair and right? I mean, if
You have to go by what the contract says, okay? If listen to me. If two people agree to a contract, which is what we had here, and that contract comes into court, I've got to enforce that contract. Okay, whether it's a good contract or a bad contract, I don't know. I'm not a furnace
you're
guy.
saying he wasn't obligated to change the filter.
That's what the contract says.
Then that's not the same contract that we gave him.
That may be true. Then what? That may be.
This is the way he's going to treat a Catholic church, I guess so.
Well,
I'm sorry.
you have to go by contract law. Why did Father Thomas agree to this?
Because I don't know why.
Well, that's a question.
He review the contract before he signed
Maybe.
it. He would have never been here.
Maybe, but he didn't do it. He agreed to that.
That's right.
He's bound
I
or the church is bound to agree to that. The only way that you can show possibly a breach of a contract here is that there was some sort of negligence, that when the inspection of this furnace took place in November of 2008, that the person who did it made such a gross mistake in deciding whether or not the filter should be replaced that a breach occurred in that way.
That letter doesn't prove that by the other companies saying that they were dirty?
No, because this person looked at the filters in January, not November.
You misunderstood him. He changed them January 5th. The person that looked at it, the date is on the letter, is prior to December 12th. You have the letter there.
That's a generalization letter, Your Honor.
It says here, enclosed, please find a copy of the maintenance agreement for the church and fellowship hall per terms and inspections filled out in the agreement. That's the agreement we're talking about.
Correct.
Please be advised that the present condition of the equipment is in need urgent maintenance. Like it's of urgent maintenance, it's not written properly. Filters must be changed, sensors and adjustments need to be made to extend the life of equipment and maximize the efficiency of energy savings on utility bills. This is dated December 12th now.
Correct.
Okay, and not November, when someone from Mr. Ciamello's company looked at the filters. The present conditions of the filters are dirty, and the previous lack of thorough maintenance, and it says through maintenance. You know, I hope this person is a better
Operator than a speller.
furnace person than he is speller, okay, because he doesn't know how to spell. That would cause me concern before I'd hire somebody, you know that? That would. If he's going to be careless with his English, how thorough is he going to be when he does his work?
Thank you, Your Honor.
But I guess that's your decision to make. The present conditions of filters are dirty, and the previous lack of thorough maintenance and quality of service done on this equipment does not meet the high-quality industry standards or workmanship that we instill in our service technician in our company. See, he's trying to, what sounds like to me is that A.S. Contreras is trying to get the job.
So the church doesn't want to pay the whole bill because the filters were dirty. But the repairman didn't even charge for the dirty filters. No, this one should be easy. The church must pay for the work that the repairman did. But let's see what the judge says.
But what this letter says is that as of December 12th, the filters needed to be changed. He went out in November.
Your Honor, he just said that the filters can't get dirty in less than 4 months.
It's not enough to show a breach of the contract. Okay, what you're trying to argue here is that the filters should have been changed in November. Maybe they should have been changed in November, but it's not enough to show a breach of contract. The only way you can show the breach of contract by the filters not being changed is that it was so obvious in November that the filters had to be changed, that because they weren't, it resulted in negligence on behalf of Mr. Ciamello's company, and that results in a breach of contract. This doesn't rise to that level. All this is an opinion of somebody a month later who says the filter should be changed. Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong.
Change the filters, Your Honor.
Fine, maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, but that doesn't mean there's a breach of contract. The contract says the filters didn't necessarily have to be changed in November. That's what the church agreed to. for better or for worse.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
We've got to go by that contract.
Follow you.
So I'm going to grant the judgment in favor of the plaintiff in this case. Now, you're suing for something different than what you actually invoiced for.
What is that, Your Honor?
The invoice is for $1,726.50. That's what the judgment
You
should
have
be
it there, I don't
for.
have it in front of
I
me.
beg your pardon, you? I didn't hear.
Whatever,
The
whatever your
invoice is for
quote-
$1,726.50.
that's correct.
That's what the
No,
judgment should be
invoice is
for.
1609.
We added on interest.
But there's
for the-
adjustments here on the invoice. The contract amount calls for $1,609, but what was actually done was a little bit different. There was a credit given of $185.50 for filters that were not replaced, and then there was some work done on an ice cube relay, you know,
Right.
for almost $300.
128.
Right.
Correct.
That adds up to $1,726.50. So the judgment will be for that amount, plus court costs, consisting of a $65 filing fee and a $23 service fee. That will bring the total amount of the judgment to $1,814.50. That'll conclude the hearing. The moral of the story is if you have a contract, you've got to abide by the terms of the contract, for better or for worse.
So the plaintiff did a lot of work in this church. The filters are just a little tiny bit. The bottom line here, if you do the work, you've got to be paid for it. If you find that you've been in a dispute that you can't resolve, small claims court may be the answer. I'm Charlie Leighton. Thanks for watching. Case closed.